Did you know that after World War II, the international style of architecture boomed in America due to its practicality? With the destruction caused by the war, soldiers returning to society, and later on a baby boom, there was a massive shortage of housing, to which architects had to urgently respond. However, as society slowly recovered, the international style revealed many problems, such as the high-rise projects that architects so glibly accepted would, within a decade, become the failed urban ghettos, displaying all of the attendant problems of racial segregation, poverty, welfare, and crime. So, as a response to these concerns, a new movement emerged within the architecture world: Postmodernism. And among this movement was the remarkable architect Charles Willard Moore. Born in 1925 in Benton Harbor, Michigan, Charles Moore was an American architect renowned for his playful and eclectic style, which serves as a great example of postmodernism. This is no surprise, as David Littlejohn in the book Architect: The Life and Work of Charles W. Moore mentioned that Moore had known Robert Venturi and his works since his Princeton days. The two architects shared similar architectural principles, and Venturi himself was one of the key architects who introduced postmodernism. Moore embraced a mix of styles and incorporated historical motifs in his designs as a way to cleverly reject the uniformity and seriousness of modernism. However, his aim wasn't to revive past styles, but to foster engagement between the building and the individual. Moore believed that overtly symbolic decoration was secondary to the proto-symbolic resonances inherent to basic architectural forms. Furthermore, on the Charles Moore Foundation website, Moore expressed his interest in vernacular architecture, highlighting the importance of the relationship between a building and its surroundings. A great example that showcases Moore's principles is one of his most famous projects, the Piazza d'Italia in New Orleans. Built in 1978, Moore was commissioned to design a public plaza to honor the Italian-American community. With Italy's massive influence on architecture's history, Moore thought, what could be a more Italian shape than Italy, and what more direct and therefore effective cultural reference in a piazza dedicated to the Italian community could there be other than the architectural orders? Moore paid homage to the classical orders in a playful manner with the use of bold colors, exaggerated proportions, and various materials. Peter Gussel and Gabriela Leutheiser, in their book Architecture in the 20th Century, described the design as a stage setting of wittily manipulated orders of classical columns. Fine water jets trace Doric fluting, Tuscan order columns are made of slit steel, and capitals are crowned with neon tubes. Moore sought to utilize how traditional classical architecture can evoke profound emotions, but in a modern context, to ultimately create a playful piazza that invites the individual to a joyful experience. However, in a time of seriousness and post-war recovery, Moore knew that the design would be seen by others as provocative. Nevertheless, the piazza was built and has now become an iconic postmodern design. In an interview 10 years after the piazza was built, he said, "So maybe it was naughty? I am sure I hoped so. In 1976, to have those classical orders. Surely the orders give pleasure to more than just architects, even as someone who is not a musician might enjoy noting the difference between a sonata and a tone poem."